Hey folks, and welcome to another video of mine. In today's video I'm going to be doing something different, a movie review for the first time. Now, I just saw Zack Snyder's Justice League. I mean, how could I not see this movie or review this movie simply because of the fact that I'm such a big fan of Superman. I guess you can tell by the t-shirts that I wear in every single video. Now, I was particularly really keen to watch Henry Cavill's version on the big screen. And boy oh boy, what a joy. So let's get started, folks. Now, before I even begin, I just want to put out a quick word. I know a lot of you might hate me because of this, but I just thought I should mention this. Now, there's a lot of criticism around the Josstice League, and I understand the criticism around it, but let me give you an analogy here. For instance, if you are a developer, a software developer, and you have to work with someone else's codes to finish a product or finish an app. Now, number one, you have time constraints, you have budget constraints, and then the company who is hiring you also wants to interfere, and they're giving you a target that you've got to work with their vision, not the original developer's vision, but the company's vision. Now, given all that, Joss Whedon was hired to do a job, and he delivered on that front. He gave us a movie in 2017, a released version of the Justice League. Now, please note that he is also the director of one of the most successful superhero movies of all time, The Avengers. Now, was the product that he delivered in 2017 the best? Of course not. And once you watch Zack Snyder's Justice League, it further establishes the fact that that product could have got so much better. But you have to understand that Joss Whedon could not put the heart into the project simply because of the fact that it was not his project to begin with. He was working with someone else's codes in this case. So, I just want to put it out there. I'm not a fan of Joss Whedon's work, by the way. In fact, I'm a big fan of Zack Snyder's work, especially Man of Steel. That was one of my favorite, and still is, one of my favorite superhero movies of all time. He did such a fabulous job with that movie, and I've been a big fan of Zack Snyder ever since. That's why I was really excited to see Justice League, but I was disappointed, just like any of you folks in 2017 when we got that version of the Justice League. So I have seen the movie, Zack Snyder's Justice League. In fact, I enjoyed it on 100 inches of big screen goodness on the big screen, and I have a lot of things to share with you all. And that's why let's get started with this video finally. There is no doubt that Zack Snyder's Justice League is a far superior movie than the one that we got in 2017. And generally, when you talk about Zack Snyder, right, I mean, he's got a flair for action sequences, for slow-mo sequences, and all of that is great in this movie. You've got action sequences which are mind-boggling. They look fantastic on the screen, very stylish, very sleek, and Zack Snyder, he has this thing about making the characters in the movie, the actors look really good, and all of that is really going very well for this movie. But what really stands out in this movie is the fact that Snyder is really focused on the characters. I mean, every character arc is really well developed, and there's this emphasis on the characters, and that really stands out in Zack Snyder's Justice League. I mean, he does have the benefit of time because this movie is 4 hours long. So that gave him an opportunity to really work on those characters, and we get to see that in the movie. Let's go through each of these characters to understand how fleshed out and how good their character arcs really are. Let's start with Hippolyta. Now, Connie Nielsen's performance is simply brilliant. She's got the grace, compassion, and the beauty of a queen, but also that heart, that fearlessness of a warrior. She's beautiful, she's graceful, very composed, and not to forget, a badass. Yes, she is a badass in every scene that you get to see her in. And also wanted to mention that while she is in those scenes, you kind of forget that there's also a Wonder Woman around, Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman around, because she is the Wonder Woman in all the scenes at Themyscira. Speaking of Themyscira, the opening sequence at Themyscira is so much better in Zack Snyder's version. There's this sense of dread and loss, and the reason why I say this is because you know how that complex goes down? We got to see this in the trailers as well. But you have so many Amazonians who are in there and they all go down with that complex. So therefore the sense of loss and grief, and that's shown by Connie Nielsen in her performance as well. But what it also does is it shows how merciless, how ruthless Steppenwolf really is and how powerful he is. And that brings us to Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf really is the big bad of this movie. He is ruthless, he is savage, he is merciless, not to forget, really strong in this movie. In fact, he's so strong, so powerful in this movie that he even succeeds in killing all the heroes in the movie. You heard that right. And we're gonna get to that towards the end of this video, so kindly stick around. But coming back to Steppenwolf, right? I was talking about how powerful he is. There's this scene where he pulls so many Amazonian warriors and he throws them with the horses. I mean, it's such a great scene and it goes to show how powerful this guy is. He single-handedly brings down so many Amazonian warriors. And his killer streak, in fact, it continues even with that scene at the Gotham Harbor where all these superheroes in the league, they're going up against him. And he's going against them toe-to-toe, giving them a tough challenge. In fact, it's very difficult for our heroes to bring him down on his knees. If it was not for Wonder Woman and her that power, he doesn't take a fall, he doesn't take a hit. It takes Wonder Woman this to bring him down to his knees, or rather take a fall. So that's how powerful Steppenwolf really is. And I love the scenes that he is in because, again, he's so different to the 2017 movie. The 2017 movie, it did not show Steppenwolf in this light. I mean, he was just useless. Also, wanted to talk about the scene where Steppenwolf is actually the one who discovers that the anti-life equation is on Earth. That is a great scene. Now, in case you're wondering, what is the anti-life equation? Well, according to the comics, it's nothing but a transcendental mathematical formula, and a formula which helps you control or take over the will of any sentient race in the universe, and that is the ultimate goal of Darkseid. Now, remember the parademons? How they, followed Darkseid, and they would follow Darkseid to the deathbed, you could say. Now, imagine a universe full of these parademons if Darkseid can get a hold on the anti-life equation. Now, that's the anti-life equation, and we're going to get to talk about it a little more maybe towards the end. So now let's get back to the characters. Now, what's amazing is the fact that even though Steppenwolf has been shown to be so powerful in the movie, he acts like a complete wuss near Darkseid. That goes to show how powerful Darkseid could be in this movie. Now, he certainly does not start off as being this almighty, all-powerful creature, because there's this scene narrated by Wonder Woman, of course beautifully done. It's very different to the one that we saw in 2017, where Wonder Woman is telling the story to Batman near the lake. And it's still Wonder Woman, it's still Batman, but the whole scene just plays out better. In fact, she gets to learn about Darkseid from some paintings on a wall, that she gets to enter using the arrow which was shot by Hippolyta at the start of the movie at Themyscira. So that's how she gets to know about Darkseid and his parademons troops and his attack on Earth. And she speaks about how the old gods came together and the different races of Earth came together to bring him down. So he definitely does not start off on that powerful note. And in fact, the old gods and the different races, they come together and they defeat him the first time around. So he's not that powerful. So you kind of wonder, how powerful he has become over a period of time, that Steppenwolf, who's shown as such a powerful being, is acting like a wuss near Darkseid. So that arc, that evolution of Darkseid would be very, very interesting to see if we get to see the Snyderverse restored. And I hope and I pray that it is restored. Coming back to Darkseid. Now, Darkseid, when we get to see him in that battle, playing out, between all the different races, You also have this cool scene where Ares, yes, this is the same Ares from the first Wonder Woman movie, the villain of that movie. He in fact is the one who lays that, you could say, lethal blow on Darkseid, and he takes him down. So you've got a villain from one of the movies, Wonder Woman, and he's the one who actually takes down Darkseid. In fact, he's instrumental because he hits that lethal blow. And you see the vulnerability of Darkseid here in this scene, where he's bleeding, and then his parademons actually have to carry him out of the ship, and then they finally retreat, and Earth's been saved this time around from Darkseid. So again, I would be very interested to find out how he goes from there, lying down, bleeding, and being not so powerful, to being this powerful that Steppenwolf would, you could say, pee in his pants if Darkseid said something. So that's the kind of power level that he's reached. And that's Darkseid. We'll get to see a little more about him, or hear a little more about Darkseid towards the end of this video. So kindly stick around, and let's move over to the next character now. Now let's start with the heroes, starting with Cyborg. He is definitely, you could say, right in the middle of the movie, and you can call him the heart of the movie. And his character arc is really fleshed out. In fact, it's so good that you kind of feel for Cyborg in the movie, which you could never do in the 2017 movie. He's hardly there. But here, you get to see his relationship with his father, his strained relationship with his father, and that's what makes the loss towards the end so much more effective. You really feel for Cyborg, and you feel his loss when he loses both his parents in the movie. Now, the 2017 version, his father never dies, but in this one, he does, and therefore, you can associate a certain amount of loss, in fact, great amount of loss with this character, and how he's lost everyone who he has loved, and you feel for him. Apart from that, you also get to see him learn how he hacks into the system. He learns his powers in the movie, and Zack Snyder does a very good job at showing that. He learns how to fly, he learns how to hack the systems, he learns how to even affect financial markets in a way. So all that is really, really cool. And Ray Fisher's Cyborg is a great Cyborg. He's done a fantastic job. In fact, I would love to see more of Ray Fisher's Cyborg in future DCEU movies as well, if they get to make that. Now, apart from that, all is not well though. There's one particular scene which I personally was not fond of, but do let me know what your thoughts are. There's the scene where his mom is talking to the head of an institute where he's studying, and she talks about how it's cool to hack into systems just because he's got a good heart. I did not like that scene, especially the way it was shot, the way it was shown. That was not good. But apart from that, every scene that Cyborg is in is a treat, and his design, everything looks so much better. And this is a complete 360 when it comes to Cyborg's character. Zack Snyder has done a fantastic job with him. Now the Flash. Now this movie has a prologue for almost every superhero, except for, even Superman, but the prologue part. Now the Flash's prologue is, I would say, the least important of all the other heroes, because it does nothing to the main plot, nothing to the main storyline. Plus, if you have seen the CW's Flash, I've seen it all these past 6 seasons, the 7th season going on. I love the CW's version of the Flash, so much so that you're bound to make these comparisons. And I just don't like the way the character has been made in the DCEU. In fact, for most parts, the Flash in this movie is just been reduced to comic relief, and even the humor that is associated with Flash, sometimes it comes across as very cheesy, not that great. Even that scene, where, and this is even in the 2017 version of the Justice League, where there's the bat signal, which comes up, and he's telling me, oh, that means, it's your signal, time to go, and all that stuff. Very cheesy. Thank God they cut off that scene, where he lies on top of Wonder Woman. That was such a horrible scene, and I'm glad that they took that scene out. Now, here's the thing with Flash though. He gets one of the coolest scenes in the movie, and in fact, he has perhaps one of the biggest parts in the movie, and that's towards the end. And I'm going to talk about that and I would want to talk about that because that's what makes me still hope for this character if they do come up with the Flashpoint movie. In fact, I'll be excited about the Flashpoint movie just because of that last scene. And Zack Snyder, he's done justice to that scene. In fact, it's reminiscent of the Flashpoint cartoon. If you haven't already seen that, it's a fantastic cartoon. You should go and watch it. But the last scene, it does remind you of that Flashpoint, and it goes to show how powerful Flash can be, where he can literally get into the fabric of space and time and warp it, change it, reverse time, create new timelines. That's how powerful Flash is in the DCEU. In fact, he's not come to the stage where he realizes that and he uses that completely. I think it'd be great to see this character evolve. And please, don't just let that cheesy humor come in. Humor is good, but I think the humor in this case was not that great when it comes to the Flash. But again, Ezra Miller's Flash, I personally, make comparisons because I'm just so used to watching, the Flash on the CW. But yeah, having said that, Flashpoint, really excited for that. Now over to Aquaman. Jason Momoa, well, he is definitely the Aquaman. Just like I said, Henry Cavill is the Superman. I think Jason Momoa is the Aquaman. In this movie, he is very Aquaman-y. Well, for starters, his conversations with Bulko and his conversations with Mira, it gives you more light as to why he hates Atlantis so much, why he kind of distances himself from the Atlanteans simply because of the fact that his relationship with his mother is a strained one. He feels that his mother deserted him and he left him so that she could get back to the Atlanteans. So you get more depth with this character, and his scenes with Bulko and Mira, they're definitely great. They are in fact much better. And it kind of leans into the Aquaman movie as well. So it's like a short prequel, you could say, to Aquaman. Now he also gets this cool scene where he gets to battle Steppenwolf one-on-one. And what's cool about this scene is that you get to see again how powerful Steppenwolf is. Now please note, Aquaman is not at his peak. What I mean to say by that is we still did not have Aquaman getting that trident from King Atlan. So he's still not as powerful as he is towards the end of the Aquaman movie. So when he's going head on, with Steppenwolf one-on-one, he's still not that powerful. So Steppenwolf has the advantage here when it comes to that scene. But I'll tell you what, there's this cool scene with Mira, and the reason why it's so cool is because it's bloody amazing. Now, what I mean to say by that is that you have Mira literally taking the blood out of Steppenwolf's body. Now that goes to show the extent of Mira's power as to how powerful she can be given the scenario. Now in this case, it's such a cool scene, and Steppenwolf has to back out. In fact, he pushes her around and he backs off, and it goes to show how powerful Mira could be if she wanted to. But it takes both Aquaman in and Mira, but even they cannot hold Steppenwolf back, and he's successful in taking the mother box, of course, and then he moves away. But coming back to Jason Momoa's Aquaman, like I said, he's the Aquaman. He is the dude, you could say, and he's cool in every frame, every scene. He in fact is the skeptic in the movie as well, because even when it comes to resurrecting Superman, he's always skeptical about doing that. And that's the kind of humor that I like. Actually, it's very subtle, and it kind of makes you chuckle and laugh, but in a very subtle way, if you know what I mean. So Aquaman's skeptical lines, they are really good, and Jason Momoa does a fantastic job at being Aquaman. Now, speaking of Wonder Woman, now this is the Wonder Woman that I love. This is the same Wonder Woman from BVS or from the first Wonder Woman movie. She's fearless, never backs down from a fight, and you get to see that right from that opening scene in London. And the scene is so much better. There's some extra action sequences in there, some added scenes, and it all adds to how fierce a warrior Diana really is. Now, apart from that, she can also fly in this movie. Yes, I guess they kind of figured out that if they did not make her fly, then there could be continuity issues, given the fact that she does fly in Wonder Woman 84. But it does feel like something that was added later. Here's my reason why. Now, you remember that scene, even in 2017 movie, we saw it in Zack Snyder's trailers as well, where you have Flash touching the tip of that sword and the sword then moves into Wonder Woman's hands. Well, if she could fly, she could have just swooped in, caught that sword and taken it. So, as cool as that scene looks, it does kind of have a problem with this concept of Wonder Woman flying, because if she were able to fly, then she would have just taken the sword by swooping in. So her flying definitely feels like something that was added later on. But again, Wonder Woman is absolutely cool in this movie. There's also this scene where she's shown to be dead, yes, and we'll get to that towards the end, so please stick around. But Wonder Woman is cool in this movie. And thank God you don't have that scene from 2017 where she's got the shawl around and she goes over to Batman and meets him in the room. That scene does not exist in this movie, and for good reason. Thank God it's not there. And you also get to see a little more interactions with Wonder Woman and Aquaman. Again, very exciting, because she talks about the differences between Amazonians and Atlanteans. Now, this is something that you get to see even in the Flashpoint movie, where they are at war, and you have Aquaman and Wonder Woman going one-on-one and fighting each other. So it'd be fantastic to see how this plays out. There's this interaction between Jason Momoa and Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman at this scene where they are taking out Superman's body to resurrect him, and I think that's one of the you could say interesting conversations between these two superheroes, and I for one would be very interested to see how that plays out, the tussle between the Atlanteans and the Amazonians in the Flashpoint movie, if at all they decide to show that. Now moving over to Ben Affleck's Batman. Now he's definitely older, he's more experienced, he is also more grounded. In fact, more than being a fighter, he's actually an anchor or a moral support to the team. And it's very different to the Batman we've come to see, because generally Batman does like fighting solo, apart from having the Boy Wonder, of course. But that's the way he operates. He likes fighting solo. But in this movie, he in fact is the one who gets the team members together. Of course, you don't have a lot of high octane action sequences with Batman involved, especially like the one in BVS where he's taking down those bunch of goons to rescue Martha. So you don't have those hard-hitting scenes, you could say, with the Batman. But here in this movie, he acts like this leader who has learned from his experiences in the past, and he's passing on those experiences over to the team to lead them. And not just a bunch of heroes, but even villains. Because in the nightmare sequences, you see that he's actually the one who's leading the bunch of heroes and the villains, the ones who are left after Darkseid's wrath, you could say. And he's the one who's leading them. There's also this interesting conversation, you could say, with the Joker in one of the nightmare sequences, where there's a clear reference to the death in the family. And I'll be very interested again to find out how that plays out on the big screen if they ever get a chance to carry forward that storyline. But the Batman in Zack Snyder's Justice League is very composed. He's very different to the Batman that you get to see in maybe the other movies that we've got in the past. And like I said, he's more like a moral support. What is also interesting to see is the dynamic between Alfred and Batman. They, in fact, in this case, are the dynamic duo, because there's no Robin. So the dynamic duo in Zack Snyder's Justice League is actually Alfred and Batman. And you see Alfred, making all these cool gadgets for Batman, his mind, but Alfred's work. And that plays out even in this scene where Superman is resurrected and he's heading towards Batman. He holds him, and then he's using his heat vision to shoot at Batman. And what's cool in the scene is that if it were not for those gauntlets that Alfred had made, Batman would have been packed toast. But the gauntlets actually save him. So that's Alfred's inputs and his creation with Batman's mind. And it just goes to show again how Zack Snyder has actually thought of these small little things. How, one scene where Alfred is talking about making those gauntlets with Wonder Woman, while, they're also talking about tea. And then that actually kind of plays out in this scene, this resurrection scene where Superman is, I wouldn't exactly call it fighting, but he's manhandling, you could say, Batman. And if it were not for those gauntlets, like I said, Batman would have been toast. And kudos again to Zack Snyder for, having that reference, giving us something, a peek of something, a few scenes or a few minutes ahead, and then this scene finally playing out. And that just goes to show the importance of those gauntlets. And it's the small things that matter, because they add up and they have this big impact. And like I said, although the action scenes are absolutely mind-blowing, it's these small little things which Zack Snyder has been able to pull off. And he's been able to make each scene so much more effective and have so much more depth. That is what was missing in the 2017 Justice League. And again, hats off to Snyder for doing something. Batman and Ben Affleck's Batman is absolutely fantastic. And Zack Snyder has had the time to work on his character. And I'd be very interested to see, if at all we get to see more of Ben Affleck. And I certainly hope we do get to see more of Ben Affleck as the Batman in the DCEU. Finally, the big red and blue, or in this case, the big black. Well, Superman is... you don't really have Superman for most parts of the movie. In fact, he is there in just the last two acts, you could say. But his presence could definitely be felt throughout the movie. When he does finally get resurrected, that scene plays out so much better. And in fact, it goes on to show how powerful Superman really is. And I'll come to that in just a short bit. But I do want to talk about that black suit. Now, I was a little disappointed, you could say, when it comes to the black suit. And here's my reason why. Because unlike the comics, where there is a reason as to why Superman wears that black suit, right? I mean, he's just been resurrected. He needs to restore himself to full power. And the black suit actually soaks in more radiation from the sun, thereby helping him heal faster and helping him getting restored to full power. But in this case, that explanation is not given. So it kind of is pointless, for him to wear that black suit. And even, the scene towards the end, where Superman, again paying tribute to Christopher Reeve's Superman, where he opens up his shirt and he shows that symbol. I believe that it should have been the red and blue suit which is beneath that jacket and that shirt instead of the black. I was kind of disappointed here because I was looking forward to him getting back to his red and blue suit. Again, there is no reason as to why he wears the black suit in the first place. So it's kind of pointless, right? If they would have made that explanation, it would have been fantastic. Now, coming to Superman's character, now he is, man, he's on a different power level altogether in this movie, because when he's resurrected, first of all, that scene plays so much better. You get to see him take on all the League members with ease. Nobody's a challenge. In fact, even Wonder Woman, who is the strongest member of the team, well, he takes it down with ease. That's how powerful the Superman in the DCEU is. And you remember how powerful Steppenwolf was, where every League member, they were struggling to fight with him. Well, he completely decimates, Superman decimates Steppenwolf when he steps into the frame. Steppenwolf, he's no match for Superman. So that's the kind of power level that we are talking about. And what I would really want to see is a one-on-one battle between Superman and Darkseid. If at all we get to see more from Zack Snyder. And again, I hope, I pray that the Snyderverse is restored and we get to see more of these characters, because every single character and every actor that was chosen to play these roles, Ben Affleck or Henry Cavill or Gal Gadot, Ray Fischer, Ezra Miller, I feel like they were except for Ezra Miller maybe. I feel like they were meant for these roles. If you think of Batman, it's Ben Affleck. If you think of Wonder Woman, it's Gal Gadot, and if you think of Superman, the big three, that is the Trinity, then it's definitely Henry Cavill. And Henry Cavill's Superman is so good, you can't get enough of him. In fact, you kind of miss him being in the movie a lot more, but I guess it's kind of the way this movie was made, and I respect that. I understand. That's what makes his presence towards the end even more impactful, because he was not there throughout the movie. He just comes towards the last two acts, and that has a bigger impact, you could say. And Zack Snyder, has done full justice to Superman. I still hope, that we get more from Henry Cavill, and he plays Superman as long as he can. Now, finally, we do have to talk about the Martian Manhunter as well, because yes, he is in the movie. You've got Martian Manhunter, but I feel like it's fan service and kind of an afterthought. Now, I understand that in the original trailers that we saw from Zack Snyder, he does talk about uniting the seven. So, in case you were wondering, there are just 6 superheroes on screen. Who's the 7th one? Now, you are forgetting that the Justice League also has Green Lantern as one of the Justice League members. I would have preferred watching Green Lantern, because there's this reference to Green Lanterns in the movie, where you've got the narration scene with Diana talking to Bruce, and she's talking about the old gods. There's a Green Lantern who's also in that scene, and Darkseid takes him down. So it makes more sense actually for a Green Lantern to be the 7th member, because we don't see any Martians then. Well, apart from that, I would also like to point out why I personally feel like it's an afterthought and it feels more like fan service. Because firstly, the character design, I did not like it, to be honest. It could have been better. I again would go back to CW, Supergirl. I believe that the Martian Manhunter in CW's Supergirl, with a much lower budget, in some scenes looks better than the Martian Manhunter that we get to see here on the big screen. But that's just me. It's subjective, alright? Don't blame me. Don't, don't hang me in the comment box, and please don't write any mean comments, please. But that's just my personal opinion. Of course, I would respect everyone's personal opinion. And that's my first reason. Number 2 is the fact that you remember how in the Man of Steel you have Henry Cavill in that interrogation room, and looking at the mirror, he can tell that that a man is carrying a sandwich in one of his pockets. But you're telling me that he can't tell that General Swanwick is actually a Martian and the Martian Manhunter? Again, remember that resurrection scene where he scans every single League member. He's scanning Aquaman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, and Cyborg. He gets to see their insides, their organs, their hearts beating, pumping. But you're telling me that standing right in front of General Swanwick, he can't say that he's a Martian? Well, of course, there'll be some who may come up with this theory. In fact, I can kind of understand that he's a telepath, so he could have blocked Superman from seeing that he's actually a Martian. Well, that's the only thing that I can actually think of. But hey, again, he's had so many times when he's come across the Man of Steel, Superman, and Superman could not figure out that he's actually a Martian. So that's why, I have my reasons, these couple of reasons as to why I think that the Martian Manhunter does not exactly fit in a good way, you could say, in this movie. But again, Zack Snyder has, even if it's fan service, I would say hats off for at least getting an additional superhero and having that 7th member in this movie. I was hoping and looking forward to the 7th member being a Green Lantern, but hey, we've got a Martian Manhunter. First of all, we've got a Zack Snyder's cut. That is more than what you could ask for, so I'm thankful for that. But these are my reasons. Do let me know in the comment box as to what you think. Why do you feel Superman was not able to tell that General Swanwick is actually Martian Manhunter? I'd be very interested to find out your theories. So do let me know in the comment box. Now quickly back to that Flashpoint reference, alright? Now Steppenwolf is in fact so powerful that in one timeline he actually manages to kill all the superheroes. That's right, you heard that right. All the superheroes, they die in the Justice League. And if it was not for Flash and his ability to turn back time and create a new timeline, they would have stayed dead. So that is what is so cool about Flash in this movie. Although, you've got that cheesy humor, he gets one of the coolest scenes in the movie. And even the way it was shot, the way it was made, it is fantastic. This is where you see the brilliance of Zack Snyder, and you get to see this scene play out on such a huge scale. It's universal, you could say. That's how big that scene is, and that's how cool Flash and his powers are in this movie. So in terms of his powers, Flash is really powerful. You even get to see him heal himself in one of the scenes, and that is so cool. So that's the end scene. And again, in DCEU, you don't just have multiverses, because we already saw that in CW's Flash, right? When they had this crisis event, the crossover event, we saw Ezra Miller's Flash cross over with CW's Flash, and we know that the multiverse exists. And now you have alternate timelines as well, and one alternate timeline being created in Zack Snyder's Justice League. That's how cool it is. So in Marvel movies, you just have alternate timelines, but here in DCEU, you have multiverse plus alternate timelines. So double whammy. It's just so good. And I thought I would mention this towards the end of this video as well. Last but not the least, how could I forget the nightmare scenes? And you don't just have one nightmare coming from one person, you have a couple of them. You have Batman's nightmare scenes, and then you have Cyborg's visions. Alright? So there are two nightmare visions, you could say. Batman's visions has him being alive and leading a bunch of heroes and villains against Darkseid. On the other hand, you have Cyborg's vision, where he sees Wonder Woman dead, Aquaman dead, Batman dead. So the big three out of the League members, they are already gone, they're dead. And what is interesting is the fact that Superman is actually holding someone's dead body. Now, some may think that it was actually Batman, but I think that it's Lois. And he's lost Lois in this scene because he also sheds a tear, and he's extremely sad about losing this person. Now, this plays out in the Batcave because you can see Robin's suit in the background. So this is the Batcave. Therefore, the Batman may have been involved some way, and could have maybe led to the death of Lois Lane. I don't know, I'm just kind of making theories right now. What do you guys think? I think it's Lois Lane, and then you have Darkseid placing his hand on Superman, that scene from the trailers. And in case you're wondering, how does Superman go all evil? Well, of course, Injustice, the game and the comics, they were a great storyline. If you haven't already played the game, go ahead and play it. If you haven't already read the comics, go ahead and read it. Fantastic storyline. But in that storyline, it was so much simpler, right? I mean, the Joker kind of makes Superman kill Lois and his child, and therefore, he goes all berserk. Well, that storyline, it ain't happening here. So how does Superman go all evil? The simple answer to that is the anti-life equation. Remember how it's a formula where Darkseid gets to control the will of any sentient race or being? Well, in this case, I think Darkseid uses the anti-life equation on Superman, and he makes Superman bend to his will. So you have this almighty Superman acting according to the will of Darkseid. And in fact, in one of the visions of Cyborg, you even see Superman holding the cape in his hand. You see a dead lantern. That means that Superman has even killed Batman in this case. On the other hand, in the other nightmare sequence, Batman is still alive and he's leading the bunch of heroes, but even in that sequence, you still have Aquaman dead. Mira confirms it, Aquaman is no more, and because Wonder Woman is not in the scene, I'm assuming that Wonder Woman is also dead. You also have Deathstroke in that scene, and it's cool to see Deathstroke, Batman playing along together and acting as part of a single team. So this is what excites you, of the future. If the Snyderverse does get restored, it'd be so cool to see heroes and villains coming together to fight a greater evil, Darkseid in this case. So I really pray and hope that the Snyderverse is restored and we get to see all of that on the big screen again. Now, given all the nightmare sequences and given the fact that the movie ends on a cliffhanger where Darkseid is preparing his armada to invade Earth, the old-fashioned way, like he says in the movie, and you get to see his troops of parademons as to how big his army is. It kind of gives you the scale of how the future movies could have played out, something that one would be very excited to look forward to. Now, the movie itself ends on a positive note. It ends on this message of hope. Even Batman is very hopeful in this movie, and it's good to see, this Batman being so different to being a dark and a gloomy Batman. In fact, he's more cheerful, he's more bright, and he's more hopeful. I guess it's the hard experiences that he's had in his life. Age, experience has taught him. So the movie does end on a positive note. You even have this conversation between the Martian Manhunter and the Batman, and how now all of a sudden the Martian Manhunter wants to protect Earth. Again, it does not make sense, but the movie does end on a good note. And as far as how the movie is, how I would rate it, well, I would rate it a solid 9 out of 10. This is so much better than the movie that we got to see in 2017. In fact, you get to understand how you can have a director fulfill his vision and do justice to everyone, the studio, most importantly, the fans, by giving a movie that is so good. The reason why I did not give it a 10 on 10 is simply because of the Martian Manhunter factor and also the characterization of the Flash. But there were many cool scenes in the movie, and action sequences. Zack Snyder is a master in those scenes. Every single action scene is so much better than 2017. The extra added time does help Zack Snyder, and you don't feel like it's 4 hours, it's like a breeze. The movie is so good that it gets over in no time, just like that. And you have to give Zack Snyder the credit, because passing 4 hours watching a movie is an achievement. And if it goes past just like a breeze, you have to give full credit to Zack Snyder for this. Most importantly, it's all the fans and their support who made Zack Snyder's Justice League possible. And it is again the fans who can make the Snyderverse possible. You can have the fans restoring the Snyderverse, and I would love for that to happen. Kudos to Zack Snyder and his team. Also, a big shout out to all the actors, because they came together, they supported Zack Snyder's vision, they reshot certain scenes maybe, and they lent full support to Zack Snyder. So kudos to them as well. And it was a fantastic movie. You have to watch it. No review, spoiler, non-spoiler, will do justice to this movie. It will only be a fantastic experience if you watch it on the big screen. So if you have a big screen television at home, I would advise that you watch it on a big screen. And I also want to mention the 4:3 aspect ratio. Zack Snyder did a fantastic job with that. If you're watching it on a projector, it's the IMAX version, and I think it looks fantastic. The 4:3 aspect ratio, it looks very good on a projector, on a big screen, and it would look really great on a big screen in the cinema halls. I'm not so sure about it being so good on a 16:9 aspect ratio on television screens. So if you do have an opportunity, watch it on the big screen, or if you have a projector lying around in the house, then watch it on a projector rather than watching it on a television. That's my advice. And again, even the aspect ratio, Zack Snyder got to use that 4:3 aspect ratio, and it just goes to show that if you're given freedom and there's no interference from the studio, then you can get a movie so good. I mean, it's completely, you could say, the director's vision. And in this case, Zack Snyder has really come through. He's done a fantastic job, and that's what makes you want more. So please, everyone, let's start a petition, you could say, where we have restored the Snyderverse. I know a lot of people have already started talking about let the Snyderverse be restored. So I pray and hope that it does get restored. That brings me to the end of this video, folks. Do let me know if you want me to make more movie reviews. What do you think of this movie review? And please, if you like the video, hit that like and subscribe button. Also, hit that bell icon if you want to get notified with all my latest videos. Thank you so much for watching. This is a wrap for this video, folks. This is me signing off. Take care, stay safe, and may God bless you all.